the session, and I'll be ready. So let me know in the chat. Thank you. Thank you so much. You're ready. Fantastic. If you're ready, I am ready. So let's go to the first slide. And one thing I would like to highlight is the reason why you're joining this session is to have an understanding of tech, project management and business analysis only. So that's the only thing that I'm going to be talking about. But it's also important that any questions that you have or anything that you're not sure of, do put it in the chat. The most important thing is that you leave here having an understanding of what a project manager does or what a business analyst does, and most importantly, identifying if this is the right role for you. So we're going to have a look at some of the reasons why you are not yet a project manager or business analyst. So let me know in the chat if you've tried this before. Maybe you tried training or self-learning, or you've gone on a couple of videos on YouTube, or you've joined a lot of free sessions like this, or perhaps you've been meaning to do it for a very long time and you've been putting it off. Let me know if you are one of those in the chat. So you've tried it before, you've been meaning to do it, you have no time, you've been procrastinating, you've joined many free sessions like this. And hopefully, as I always say, this will be your last bus stop. So let me know in the chat. Let's have a look at the next slide whilst I read the comments. So Laura said, I've tried self-learning, Udemy, etc. I've been procrastinating. Don't worry, we all do that from time to time. Okwe, I've seen your comment as well. Very funny. A lot of you are new to this, etc., etc. So do not worry if you're new to this. I will break it down into very, very simple language. It's interesting to see that a lot of you are saying procrastination, where, maybe you have family and friends that are already in tech and you keep putting it off. Maybe 2024, you were like, this is my year. And now we're in 2025 and hopefully this will be your year. Okay, so I'm going to identify a number of reasons why perhaps you are yet to get your tech role or yet to make that important decision to transition into tech. There are a number of factors on here. So we've got the fear factor, inadequate training or poor training. And what I mean here is perhaps self-learning and not really understanding what you really need to learn within the tech industry, a lack of career strategy, personal commitments, or perhaps you think that transitioning into tech is really expensive. So the fear factor, perhaps you're scared, you've never done this before, you think that tech is all about coding, you're not, how do I put this? You haven't worked in a professional background before, perhaps you've relocated and you've been doing care or working as a cleaner for a very, very long time, and therefore you don't really have that confidence, or you think you don't have that confidence to make that decision. Or perhaps you're struggling with procrastination or imposter syndrome, where you just feel guilty about making that change, or you think you're not adequate enough. The fear factor also covers perhaps your accent. Yes, I hear that a lot. Oh, I don't have a British accent or a good accent, or the age. You know what? Maybe I'm too old, or maybe I'm too young, and so on and so forth. So if you fall into that category, let me know. You're just scared. You're scared. You have no confidence. You think tech is all about coding. You think it's all about Excel and maths and everything else. Do let me know in the chat. Another reason could be a lack of a strategy. And I think the best way to explain this is perhaps you joined a lot of free sessions like this, right? Which is fantastic because you're getting all the knowledge. But then what happens is you're joining different free sessions, you're doing your self-learning, and therefore there's so much information in your head. And therefore you're thinking, how do I now strategize with all this information that I have? So again, if you fall into that category, let me know. And like I said, if you are one of those, hopefully today will be your last bus stop. So you're gathering information. There's so much flying around on social media, and therefore information overload. And I like what someone said, too much information, a lot going on, a lot of, yeah. So therefore, you don't really have a strategy. Some of you might think that tech is expensive. Perhaps you're thinking it costs £3,000 or £4,000 or, £5,000. So I would say that could be another reason why perhaps you've not made that decision. Inadequate training. I think this industry, and that's what I'm going to talk about at some point, is really important. Where's the slide? Can we have the slide, please? So whilst we're waiting, thank you so much. Ignore technology, guys. Poor training could mean, like I said, in this industry, it's not just about having the training, but it's also about having the right practical experience. When you're going for interviews, yes, it's fantastic to have your Prince 2 and your Agile certification, etc., but what about that practical element? What about those transferable skills? And we're not just talking about the technical skills, your soft skills, communication skills, emotional intelligence, and all of that. So that could be another reason where perhaps you don't have the right skills just yet. And finally, personal commitments. So for those of you here in the UK, I'm sure you will agree with me that we literally work around the clock. And why do we work around the clock? We have bills to pay. Do we agree or disagree? There's bills to pay, there's rent to pay, there's mortgages to pay. Some of you are going to school, some of you have family, you have children. We're doing 9 to 5s, we're doing shift work to make ends meet. And therefore, you are thinking, do you know what? I really want to get into this tech, but how am I going to have the time? How am I going to sacrifice the time when I am already overwhelmed doing a 12 to 12 shift pattern or 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. and so on and so forth? So let me know in the chat which one relates to you. Is it the fear factor, personal commitments, you think tech is expensive, a lack of a career strategy, a poor training or support system, or everything? So if it's everything as well, let me know in the chat. And whilst I am waiting for more responses, we will go to the next slide. So please, I want this session to be very interactive. No answer is a silly answer. We just want to make sure that you leave here today with all the information that you need. Someone said, I swear, yep, I lack everything. So it's interesting to see that on this session, and I think this hasn't happened in a while, but everyone is saying that everything applies. The fear factor, they think tech is expensive, insufficient poor training, personal commitments, and lack of a career strategy. Okay, do not worry. I will help you with all of this. Next slide. So the $1 million question, why you should transition into tech. But I want to ask you first, what is that motivator for you to change your career? What is that thing that is making you think to yourself, do you know what? I'm done doing what I'm doing, whether it's care, law, cleaner, etc. And now is the right time for me to make that decision. So I want to hear from you before I even look at or discuss what's on the slide. So let's have a look. Cash, family, global opportunities, and work-life balance, which I think is so important. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. And I love what Uzochi said. I need family time. I'm tired and overworked. Family time, work-life balance, and for global opportunities. Poverty, and you're being very honest. Flexibility, I need to upgrade myself. Professional development is another one. Exposure, family time and work-life balance, working remotely, independence, stability, financial growth, work-life balance and global opportunities. And I need to upgrade myself and family time. So it's very, very interesting to see that. I would say that the majority of you are pretty much saying, I want time for myself. I need to upgrade myself. I need more money. I have bills to pay. And most importantly, which is very important to me, is work-life balance. And very, very shortly, I'm going to share my story of how I transitioned into tech. However, I do agree that For me, it was the best decision that I made, and my life changed. And I know there are many of you that know many people in tech whose lives have also changed for the better. So let's have a look at some of the reasons why you should make that decision today. I'm going to start with work-life balance, and I think that's very, very important. I'm based in the UK, so obviously I'm going to talk about the UK. It's a very, very stressful country, okay? I'm just being as honest as I can be. There are bills to pay. You're paying one bill, another bill is coming through the door. You're not having time for yourself. You're working around the clock. Therefore, you have no holidays. For some of you, I'm pretty sure you haven't gone on a holiday in the past year, 2 years, maybe even 3 years. You're working enough and getting enough money just to pay your bills. Once you've paid your bills, you don't have anything left to look after yourself, go on holiday, treat your family, treat yourself, and so on and so forth. So for me, tech gives you that opportunity and flexibility to work from home. So for example, today is the first day this week I am coming into the office. So I work from home with my laptop, of course. The kids go to school, they come back and they see mommy. And for me, there's no greater feeling than that. And for those of us, working in tech and working remotely, that means that we can afford or, we're able to travel anywhere in the world as long as we have a laptop and Wi-Fi and data and do what we have to do. So work-life balance for me is very important. Having that time for myself and earning enough to, yes, pay my bills, but at the same time, ensure that I'm taking care of myself and my family. Continuous professional development is very important. And I love that about the tech industry. You could be talking about project management and business analysis, and then next minute you're talking about AI. So guys, I'm sure everyone on this call knows that AI is the in thing at the moment. And that's what I love about the tech industry. You're always coming up with new things. You're constantly evolving. It's very creative, it's very innovative, and it's not stagnant. 1 minute we're talking about Prince 2, another minute we're talking about Agile, next minute we're talking about AI, which is the in thing at the moment. Who knows what is going to happen next? So you're always upskilling yourself, you're always challenging yourself to do better. And guess what? Yes, the industry is a little bit competitive, but that is the beauty of tech because you're not complacent. You know that, you know what, there's a bit of competition. So you're always learning and upskilling yourself. Global opportunities. We've had many candidates who perhaps they've been able to get jobs in Dubai or America or from Nigeria to the UK. And that's a great thing because a lot of the time you're working from home, you can apply for jobs anywhere in the world and therefore giving you that global opportunity that you need. Financial growth and freedom. So how many of you on this call, you love money, or even if you don't love money, you believe that, you know what, I need to have that financial breakthrough. I need to be able to, afford what I want and do the work that I enjoy at the same time. And I would say categorically that for many candidates, including myself, that have made this decision, we have gotten that financial freedom. So I'm not sure if there are some of you that have family and friends in tech at the moment, and I'm sure you will agree with me. They look good, they've got nice houses, nice cars, and they're going on holiday back to back. So if I was to ask you right now, which one relates to you? Okay. Is it the work-life balance, financial growth, continuous professional development, global opportunities, or just learning skills to keep up to date with ongoing trends? And again, we're getting a lot of everything. So let's have a look. So financial freedom, Mina, yes, you can. Financial freedom. But again, it's interesting to see that a lot of you have said everything. And why not? And hopefully at the end of this session, I will be able to convince all of you and not confuse you that today is that day that you make that decision. Next slide. So how can you get into tech? Again, let me know in the chat, what are you doing at the moment? What is your profession? What work do you do? And again, there's nothing to be ashamed of. Whether you're a cleaner, I've done cleaning before, you're a support worker, care worker, a dentist, a chef, a nurse, HR, law, legal background, etc. Do put it in the chat and then we can take it from there. Thank you. Mohammed, next slide. Thank you. So, okay, a lot of support workers, carers, we've got a midwife, customer sales, service advisor, psychologist, a nursery practitioner, a lot of nurses, carers. I don't even have a job. That's absolutely fine. That is why you're here. We've got a few students on here as well. So it's nice to see that we have people from different backgrounds wanting to transition. And the great thing about tech, I feel like for a lot of you, perhaps you're thinking, I don't have that experience. How am I going to do this? But in actual fact, you will find that regardless of what you're doing at the moment, whether you're in care, you're in support work, a nurse or a doctor, there are aspects of tech, there are aspects or transferable skills that you have already that you can bring into the tech space. So for example, if you're a care worker or support worker, you would be dealing with a lot of clients, yes or no? Some of them are challenging clients. You also have to do auditing. You also have to do risk assessments. And these are things that we actually do in the tech industry as well. So a lot of what we do is not coding or, looking at numbers and looking at figures. A lot of what we do is relating with people, discussing with stakeholders, identifying problems and coming up with solutions. As a nurse, as a doctor, as a lawyer, or as a HR representative, there will be moments where you've had to do exactly that, identifying problems and coming up with solutions. So regardless of what industry you're in right now, every single one of you has some sort of transferable skill that they can bring into the tech space. But before we go into that into much detail, I want to introduce myself again and just very, very quickly share a little bit about my journey. So my name is Dr. Adishola Cole, and I am the CEO of TriTech Academy. TriTech was created in March 2017. So we've been around for a very long time. We just celebrated our 8-year anniversary, to be precise. It's amazing to see that TriTech has impacted many candidates over the years. We have over 3,000 success stories. Mohammed, the next slide, please. Thank you. Over 3,000 success stories and many, many awards, which I am going to read on the screen. Top 100 influential global voices in Africa 2024. Most featured as the top 100 most impactful people 2023. We were featured in Forbes Africa in February 2023. Global Excellence Outstanding Woman in Tech Award 2023. African Achievers Legacy Award 2022, Emerging CEO of the Year 2022, a Rotary Recognition Award in 2022, Woman of the Year 2022, a recipient of the Award for Youth Empowerment 2020, Woman of the Year again in 2018, and Mentor of the Year 2016. So we have achieved this over 8 years, constantly being recognized for the amazing work that we're doing, helping many, many candidates transition into tech. Let's have a look at the next slide. More achievements. So last year, on 2 occasions, we were invited to the House of Parliament. So the House of Parliament is huge, right? And on these 2 occasions, I was invited with my team, number one, to deliver a session on AI, and also to deliver a session on cybersecurity. Yep, so for me, it's an amazing, amazing achievement being invited to, the House of Parliament. It was daunting, scary, but we nailed it. So you can see the pictures there. I'm the shortest, always the shortest, everywhere I go. Another achievement, which was the beginning of this year, and that's the picture in the middle, TriTech was recognized as the top 20 Black-owned businesses in the UK as recognized by Lloyds Bank and Channel 4. So another amazing milestone for us in 2025. And Elvis, yes, small but mighty. Thank you. So how did this start? From impacting the community, from having many success stories, being featured in Forbes, going to the House of Parliament, and getting recognized by Lloyds Bank and Channel 4. It all started many years ago. And when I say this, I always feel really, really old. I transitioned into tech in 2014. Okay. So that's a long time. All right. And prior to that, I used to work in the bank. And prior to me working in the bank, I used to be a cleaner. And prior to me being a cleaner, I had my secondary and university education in Nigeria. So I was born here in the UK, and then I was living with my foster parents in Birmingham up until the age of 11. At the age of 11, my parents decided to take me to Nigeria. It was a culture shock, but I always say it's the best decision that they ever made. So I went to Ifako International, and once I finished my secondary education, my parents were still not convinced that I was a changed child. So they made sure that I also completed my university education. So I went to Lagos State University, otherwise known as LASU, and I studied literature in English. After I graduated, I came back to the UK and I worked as a cleaner, okay? Dusting tables, laying beds, cleaning toilets, emptying bins, and so on and so forth. And I did that for a number of years. In actual fact, I was a chambermaid working in some of the top hotels. Yes, I was a naughty child back in the day. So yes, I used to work as a chambermaid working in some of the top hotels in London, the Savoy Hotel, the Thistle Hotel, and so on. So I'm sharing this story to give some of you hope and inspiration, because I'm sure at that point, cleaning toilets and laying beds and everything else, I never ever thought that I would become a CEO. So similar to Auntie Kemi, but better. That is hilarious. But anyway, so I did that for a number of years. And then I worked in a bakery in Stamford Hill, a Jewish bakery. So for those of you familiar with Hackney and Stamford Hill, there's a Jewish bakery there. I used to sell cakes, donuts, sandwiches, and toasties. So again, who would have thought that roll on some years from then, I would become a CEO, being featured in Forbes, and going to the House of Parliament. So I did that for a number of years, and then I found my way in the bank. I started off as a cashier, and then I was a sales advisor, but I was a very good sales advisor. And this is something I will brag about. Give me anything to sell, I will sell it. Okay, so I was a top sales advisor. However, I was very discouraged in the bank, and I was in the bank for about 8 years. The reason why I was discouraged, and I know a lot of you can relate to this, was I just felt like I had a voice and nobody was listening to my voice, right? I had a lot of ideas. It was predominantly white, okay? But I just felt like my face didn't fit, and I'd come up with ideas, nobody would listen, and there was a lot of work politics. So I'm sure for some of you, perhaps you're in that situation right now where you're frustrated every single day. So that was me. Always frustrated. I would go to work miserable and frowning because I hated what I was doing. And I think also, doing what I was doing, top salesperson, but I wasn't getting paid good money. I would literally pay my bills and have nothing left at the end of the month. And then every month I will have a meeting and they would tell me, you need to do this, and it never happened. So I will go home every day moaning and complaining to everybody and anybody that will listen to me. So how many of you are doing that at the moment, where you're just moaning and complaining to your husband, your wife, your family, your friends? That was me, right? And then I was speaking to a friend of mine, and he said, why don't you try project management and business analysis. Back in the day, it was never about transitioning to tech. It was just like, oh yeah, why don't you try PM and BA? And I thought, you know what? I've heard about Prince too, but that's as far as it goes. So again, some motivation for some of you thinking, how do I even do this? I was in your shoes many years ago, no clue, no experience, no knowledge, no understanding of what a project manager did or what a business analyst did, but I decided to make a decision. So I researched a company very similar to TriTech back in the day, and I joined that company, and within 3 months I was able to get my success story. So it's also very, very important that if you do decide to embark on this journey, you give yourself a timeline. So, for example, I'm going to get my success story in 3 months, or I'm going to get my success story in 4 months. Now, remember, I had no experience, I had no knowledge, but I joined this company and I was heavily involved, learning everything. Things didn't even make sense, but I knew I was determined that within 3 to 4 months, I want to get my success story, and I did it. So that was how I left from, being a cleaner to working as a baker and working in the bank to becoming a techie, a woman in tech, right? Then TriTech came about because I had a passion for mentorship. So after I got my success story, I started to mentor a lot of people. And that's when I realized that I had an inner passion for helping people with their careers. So in actual fact, I started TriTech in March 2017 and actually left my tech job and did TriTech full time. So the moral of the story is this: I don't know what you're doing at the moment, a carer, a cleaner, a support worker, but remember that if I can do it, every single one of you can do it. I always think about my days working as a cleaner. How, if I hadn't made that decision and, been determined and made that sacrifice that, what, I don't care what it takes, I'm not going to be confined to just being a cleaner. I don't care what it takes, but I'm not going to be confined to selling cakes and donuts. I know that I deserve better. And that is something that I always, it's all about motivation and it's all about positive thinking. And I think for me, that has always worked for me, and here I am today. So if I can do it, every single one of you can. You just need to believe in yourself, you need to be determined, and you need to make sacrifices. Some of you are working around the clock. How are you going to fit this in? Some of you, you're studying. How are you going to fit this in? There's something called sacrifice. I saw one of the comments just now where a lady said that she's got 2 kids and she doesn't know how she's going to do this. Guess what? When I started my tech journey, I'd literally just had baby number 2. So I had a newborn baby. And when I started TriTech in March 2017, I just given birth to another baby. Sacrifice is really, really important. Next slide. Thank you. Okay, so what is our track record? We have a 70% success rate. Are there any of you on the call that perhaps know family and friends already, or already gone through TriTech and they've gotten their success story? Let me know in the chat, or perhaps you know a friend of a friend, let me know. But if you go on our Instagram page, you will see a lot of success stories, a lot of videos and testimonials that shows that we have a process that works. And if we've been around for 8 years and we've been to the House of Parliament, then that means that we have that credibility to help as many candidates as possible. A proco doctor, yeah. Next slide. Okwe said, my friend is a data analyst, NHS Man 5, fantastic. Michael is saying, yeah, a lot of things going on for me, working 12-hour shifts, a very demanding job. So if you're doing a shift pattern, let me know in the chat. Perhaps, what is your biggest frustration? So what is your biggest frustration right now? Is it, yes, the session is recorded. Is it, we've talked about, is it financial limitations, burnout, 12-hour shifts? Let me know what is your biggest frustration that is going to make you allow you or enable you to make that decision today to turn things around. Time management, says Mina. Burnt out already in my work. 12. There's a lot of you doing a 12-hour shift. So do not worry. TriTech is going to help you make that decision today. Abigail says 12-hour shifts every day, burnt out and stressed. And someone said stagnation, 16-hour shifts. Okay. All right. So we are going to help you. And it's important that you listen to what I am going to talk about now. So, what are some of the jobs available within the tech space? So, for many of you on the call, perhaps you're thinking, I just have an understanding of a project manager role or the business analyst role. But in actual fact, there are many opportunities within the tech space. And what is very important is that, like I mentioned, and I'll mention again, it doesn't matter what you're doing, whether you have your own business, whether you're doing a 9 to 5, you're working in admin, you're working in construction, you're working in care, you're working in the finance sector, it does not matter. Everything that you're doing can be brought in to the tech space. Even if you're a caterer, right? There are times that you would have to organize all the ingredients that you're going to put together to make your cake. Then you would need to negotiate with the customer. The customer would tell you what ingredients or, the style of the cake. Again, you're engaging with your stakeholders, and then you would need to work within the budget of your client, and the client will tell you, I need this cake ready within 1 week. Again, in itself, that is project management. So these are some of the roles that you can go for. Of course, we've got the role of the project manager and the business analyst, but there are other roles that you can go for after you've had your training. You could do the role of a PMO analyst. Now, the PMO analyst, it stands for a program management officer or project management officer. As a PMO analyst, you're all about compliance, governance, and standardization. So if you're somebody that you're very good with documentation, you're very good with paperwork, you're very organized, you're very structured, and perhaps you don't want to really work in the spotlight. So for some of you, you're not really someone that is very talkative, you're perhaps introverted, and you just want to work behind the scenes. A PMO analyst role is a very good role for some of you, where essentially all you're doing is, Mohammed, can you go back, please? Thank you. Sorry, guys. So essentially, all you're doing is ensuring that people are dotting their I's and crossing their T's. So are there any of you on the call interested in the role of a PMO analyst? As a PMO analyst, you're looking at paperwork, you come from an admin department, you like admin, you're not afraid of admin, you like structure, you like order. Think of a PMO analyst as a police officer, and essentially that is what you're doing. Another role that you can go for is the role of a change manager. Now, as a change manager, you are a people person. You're laughing with everybody, you're engaging with everybody. When you walk into the room, everyone loves you, because as a change manager, your job is to ensure that the change sticks. Nobody likes change. What is an example of change? Imagine if I'm coming into this office every single day. This is my chair and this is my table, and it's been in this same position for 10 years. Okay. And then one day somebody walks into the office and they move my chair and my table elsewhere. How am I going to react? I'm going to be angry. I'm going to be resistant to that change. And therefore, a change manager's job is to get you excited about that change. Does everybody understand that? So they're going to say, oh, doctor, if we move your table and chair to the window, for example, that's going to give you more light when you're doing your selfies and your reels. That means that you've got, a better sitting area. So as a change analyst or change manager, your job is to get people excited about the change, whether it's a change in processes or tools or paperwork or anything within an organization, that is what you're doing. So again, let me know if that's something or a role that you might be interested in. You need to be a motivator. You need to be someone that encourages people. You know, people are scared. Think about AI. Nobody likes AI. Everyone is scared that AI is going to take over their jobs, right? So the change manager is going to get you excited about AI and tell you and talk to you about how you need to embrace AI and so on and so forth. So are there any of you interested in the role of a change manager? One thing I will say about this role is that you need to be a sweet, smooth talker. Yeah. So remember what I said, I like to sell. For me, I can happily be a change manager, get you excited, talk the talk, show you all the benefits, sell it to you, and then you're sold. So that's another role that you could look into. Then we have a project coordinator role. As a project coordinator, you're working with everybody or every role on this slide. So you're working alongside the project manager, you're working alongside the business analyst, the change manager, the PMO analyst, and so on. And what is your job? You are coordinating daily activities within an organization. So it's kind of like admin. Let's say there's a meeting, for example, your job would be to create the PowerPoint slide. Your job would be to take minutes in a meeting and then distribute it to stakeholders. Your job would be to facilitate meetings similar to what Mohammed is doing. So these are roles that are very good if you have no experience, no background, you're new to tech, you don't have the confidence to start speaking to senior stakeholders just yet. And therefore you're thinking, you know what? Let me start with the role of a project coordinator, get that confidence within myself, and then work my way up. So do we have anyone interested in the role of a project coordinator? It's a low-level role, a lot of admin, but it still enables you to get your foot in the door. Okay, fantastic. And then we have other roles, you know, continuous improvement roles and process improvement roles. And all you're doing is you're coming into organization and identifying where the organization needs to improve. Is it the people? Do they need more training? Is it the tools that they're using? Are they outdated? Is it the processes? Do they need to be streamlined? So your job is to make observations within an organization and then come up with ways to improve on those processes. So again, before we go to the next slide, what role is of interest to you? Is it the PM or the BA role? You're adamant, regardless of the other opportunities out there, you want to be a project manager or a business analyst. Is it the change manager role? People, smooth talker, a motivator. Is it a PMO analyst role? All about standardization, governance, and compliance? Is it the continuous or process improvement role, looking at ways to help a business improve? Or is it the project coordinator role, low-level admin, facilitating, creating PowerPoint slides, and taking minutes in meetings? But the great thing to notice is that regardless of the training that you have, it opens you up to many opportunities. And I think that's the beautiful thing about tech. Let's have a look at the next slide. All right, so we're now going to talk about the project manager role and the business analyst role extensively. And then we're going to look at what some of you are doing at the moment and where we think you could fit in based on your background. So, who is a project manager? A project manager is in charge of the project. You are the boss, you are the leader, you are the manager, you are the motivator, and you are the one responsible for making sure that everyone within your team is doing what they need to do. So whether that's the business analysts, whether that's the PMO analysts, the process improvement analyst, the project coordinator, it doesn't matter what roles they have, and it doesn't matter if they have 10 times more experience than yourself, you are getting paid to ensure that everyone is coming together with the right skill set and with the right experience to ensure that the project is successful. You are responsible and accountable for ensuring that the project that you're working on is delivered within time and budget. So, for example, if you have a client that wants to build a house, your job is to manage everybody within your team to build that house. The construction team, the electricians, the architect, your job is to manage them. But most importantly, also ensuring that you're managing your team and managing your project within budget and timeline. As a project manager, you need to have fantastic communication skills. You need to be a good communicator. There will be times that sometimes you would have to have challenging conversations with your team and also with your clients. You need to have good negotiation skills. Sometimes your client might want things to go another way. And this is where you need to use your negotiation skills to convince them to go in another direction. As the project manager, you are keeping an eye on the budget and the timeline. You're also managing any risks or issues identified on your project. So therefore, you have to have your eyes on everything, identifying any problems. And the sooner you identify those problems, the quicker you can fix them. You are also the one that will give your stakeholders updates. So your client, your customer, your directors, or your CEOs, constantly updating them on the progress of the project. As a project manager, you need to be someone that has good attention to detail, very organized, very structured, leading by example, using your emotional intelligence skills to deal with the behaviors of some stakeholders or your team members. You are the glue that brings everybody together within your team. So even if sometimes you're frustrated, you cannot show that to your team because you need to motivate them to ensure that they get the job done. So for those of you in the following industry, we would advise that you go for the role of a project manager. So if you are a doctor, a nurse, a teacher, a sales manager, a delivery manager, you've got retail experience, perhaps working in a shop, even if you're a care worker or a chef, based on the fact that you have to lead a team, based on the fact that you need to communicate with difficult stakeholders or challenging stakeholders for those of you in care or support work, for example, based on the fact that you have to use your emotional intelligence skills. Therefore, it's very easy for you to transition into this role. So do we have any doctors, sales managers, teachers, care workers, or chefs on this call? Let me know. So Sarah, so that is why you would join Tritech. So we give you that experience, okay? So I've seen your question, okay? All right, so a lot of you, fantastic. So let's have a look at another role, the business analyst. So what does the business analyst actually do? So the project manager is managing everyone, monitoring what everybody is doing, keeping everybody on their toes, chasing everyone to ensure that the project is successful, and managing the budget and the timeline. The business analyst job is to identify problems within a project and come up with the solution. Now, what do I mean? Let's say you're working on a project and the aim of that project is to build a house. I'm using a house because it's very simple to understand. So we know that the PM is managing the team to build this house. Where does the business analyst come in? The business analyst job is to identify the why, the when, and the how. Why are you building this house? When do you want to build this house? What location are you looking at? Do you want a 4-bedroom house? Do you want a 5-bedroom house? Do you want a house in Kent? Because I know there's a lot of us in Kent. I'm not in Kent, but yeah, you get my drift. Do you want a house with a swimming pool? Is this house being built to solve a problem? Are you building this house because of your family? So, as a business analyst, you need to be someone that is very analytical and inquisitive. You're somebody that likes to ask questions. Why? When? How? You like to investigate matters, and therefore you are a business analyst. You want to know why that project is being created. And the reason why you want to ask all of these questions, why, when, and how, is so that you can analyze all of this information and then come up with the right solution for the customer. Does everybody understand, please? Is everyone still with me? Let me do a quick check-in. Do not worry, we're doing okay with time. Fantastic. So, as a business analyst, your job is to investigate, identify, ask questions, analyze that information, and then come back with the solution. And a lot of what you're doing as a business analyst is requirement gathering. Now, what is requirement gathering? This is where you sit with the client and ask them open-ended questions. So, for example, you've told us that you want to build a house. What are the top 3 locations that you have in mind? And the client will say Hertfordshire, Kent, or Hackney. And then you write it down. You've told us that you want to build a house with 2 bedrooms. How about a 4 or 5 bedroom solution? Okay, it's an open-ended question. And then the client will say, okay, I'm thinking of 2 bedrooms for now, but if I still have some money left over, perhaps I could do a 3 or 4 bedroom house. And then you ask another question. What is the biggest reason for you building this house or moving to another area? Is it because of family? Is it because of children? Is it because of security? And so on and so forth. So you're asking questions, you're getting the answers, you're analyzing those answers, and then you're coming together to you're putting it all together and coming up with the solution. Is everyone with me, please? So as a business analyst, your job is to really identify the why, the how, and the when. So let me see that. So sorry. Modupe, please elaborate on that. Which part, Modupe? So as a business analyst, the what, the why, the how, and the when. And then you work together with the project manager. And then you say, based on the information that the client has given me and based on his responses, this is what I am proposing and recommending to the customer. And then you work together to complete the project. Now, another role. Okay, so very, very quickly. So for this role, you need to be someone that is very analytical. You think outside the box. You love to talk a lot. You're very, I like to say nosy, but in a nice way. And the reason why I say that is because you need to poke your nose into the why, the when, and the how of why the customer is doing what they're doing. Okay. Then another role that you can go for is the role of a PMO analyst. We've talked about this already. Oh my gosh, I skipped a bit. So sorry, guys. It's been a late one. It's been a long day. So for the BAs in the house, if you come from an engineering background, again, a doctor or nurse, an accountant, financial advisor, a scientist, a lecturer, or a professor, then you can go for the role of a BA. Yes, a lot of research as a BA. You're doing a lot of research, absolutely. So do we have any engineers, accountants, financial advisors, scientists, lecturers? This role would be very, very good for you. And then we go finally to the role of a PMO analyst. And remember, I've talked about this already. It's all about structure, organization, and governance and compliance. So whilst the project manager is chasing everybody to ensure they're doing what they need to do, and the business analyst is, identifying and asking questions and investigating, the job of the PMO analyst is to ensure that there is still structure within the project. If you are working in a banking industry, you've got a legal background or law background, or you come from a HR background, banking and PPI, care work, or quality analyst industry, then you can go for the role of a PMO analyst. Because as a care worker or support worker, even though you're looking after individuals, there's a lot of processes, I believe, that you need to adhere to: health and safety, compliance, risk assessments, etc. And as a PMO analyst, these are some of the things that you would do as well. Okay, let's have a look at the next slide. So how can TriTech help you with this? So in TriTech, we do have training and we also have practical work experience. And the training is divided into 3 phases. So we have phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Now, the program is for 9 months. What that means is we give you a 9-month access to our program, but it doesn't mean that you have to wait 9 months to get your success story. We do have some candidates getting their success story in 3 months. For some candidates, it might take a little bit longer, but it's nice to know that you have a 9-month window to do what you need to do. So let's have a look at these different phases in more detail. Phase 1. So phase 1 is where you would be right now. You're new to tech, you're lacking that confidence, you're confused, you're not really sure where you fit in, imposter syndrome, lack of confidence, and now you've just joined this training company. So the phase 1 stage is the discovery stage. And this is where you begin to identify what you like and what you don't like. Now, what's very, very important before you make that decision is that you need to think about your personality and your skill set. So, for example, you cannot say you want to be a project manager and you don't like people, or you don't like talking a lot, or you shy away from difficult or conflicting conversations or situations. As a project manager, a lot of what you're doing is talking, relating to people, and so on and so forth. So if you're really, really shy or you're an introvert, you really need to think if the role of a PM is for you. So in this phase, you really begin to identify where you fit in. Or for example, oh, you know what, I've started the training and now I've realized that I'm more of a project manager, or perhaps I'm more of a BA, or perhaps I'm more of a PMO. In this phase, you're also looking at your strengths and your weaknesses. You're identifying what you're really good at and what you're not so good at. In phase 1, you would also get your training in project management and business analysis. So we give you 2 for the price of 1. Why do you think we do that? So when you join TriTech, we train you in both project management and also business analysis. There are many reasons why we do this. So any guesses, please? So I'm a black businesswoman. So why do you think, is everyone still with me? Let me make sure that no one has slept off. I know it's really, really late. But please, we're almost done. So why do you think we train you in both PM and BA? Why do you think we train you in both project management and business analysis? Please do not scare me. Make sure you're still with me. But anyway, I will answer that question. To discover yourself. Remember that this is the initial phase. And for some of you, you're not sure where you fit in. Okay, so because of that reason, we train you in both, and therefore you can make a decision as to whether to focus on PM or whether to focus on business analysis or whether to focus on everything, therefore giving you an increased opportunity to get a job. The industry is a little bit competitive right now. So we believe in TriTech that the best way to go about it is showcasing that you have knowledge and experience in everything. Better opportunities, broader opportunities, and a lot of companies right now, they're trying to save money. So for example, it would make sense for me to hire a project manager who also has an understanding of business analysis and vice versa. So in TriTech, we train you in both. Okay. So in phase one, you would have your practical training. Your training is delivered online, and you have the option of weekend training or weekday training. Okay. Also in this phase, you will do a personality test and a skills matrix test. So we have a portal called TDL. I'm going to show you that very quickly in a moment. And when you log in, you will do your personality test and your skills matrix test. So this is AI at work. You get asked a few questions, and then based on your answer, AI would create a training plan for you. Also, in phase one, we have now introduced AI training. So not only are you having your project management and business analysis training, you're also getting trained in AI because it's something that is in high demand at the moment. So what you will find is that a lot of jobs that you go for will expect you to have some sort of AI knowledge and not just chat GPT. So is everybody clear on phase one? This is where you all fall in automatically, identifying yourself, identifying your shortfalls, your strengths, your weaknesses, what you like and what you don't like based on the training, doing your tests, your personality, your skills matrix test, having your hybrid training, and then having your AI training as well. So that is phase one. Then we go to phase two. So not so good with using a computer. So this is where we would train you. So I'm going to show you TDL in a moment, and that will answer your question. Now, phase two, I like to put your money where your mouth is. Yeah, you know, when you're talking the talk, this is where you walk the walk. Guys, can we help in the chat? Thank you. Phase two is really important because this is where you now get to do your practical experience. Phase one is all about training and identifying yourself, etc., etc. But phase two is now where you start to work on live projects, getting that experience that you need. So this is for a period of 2 to 3 months working on a live project with other candidates in other parts of the world. The work experience is normally done in the evenings, UK time, and you would have perhaps 2 to 3 meetings in a week. Okay, so this is your practical work experience that enables you to put into practice everything that you were taught in phase one. In phase two, you would also have knowledge sharing sessions, otherwise known as KSS sessions, and career strategy support. But a lot of work is needed in this phase because then you're working, you're networking, you're collaborating, and you're now beginning to work on real projects. KSS knowledge sharing sessions. Okay, let's go to phase three. So phase three is now where you've completed your training, you've done your work experience, and now you're ready to hit the job market. So you would be given a certificate of completion. In this phase, we also help and support you with applying for jobs. In phase three, we help you with your LinkedIn optimization. So it's included in your package. Also in this phase, we give you immigration support. So we have an immigration advisor that will help you for those of you that need advice on COS or switching your COS. Every month, we have our own immigration advisor that will help you. So we have a general session like this, and you're able to join and ask him questions. In phase three, you're ready for the job market. You start to apply for jobs. When you have an interview lined up, we would give you a mentor to help you with that interview. We help you with your LinkedIn profile and guide and support you on everything that you need to do to apply for jobs. Also, in this phase, we mentor you in terms of instilling confidence in yourself. So for some of you, we appreciate and understand it's a new background entirely. Therefore, we have regular career coaching sessions where you would be mentored on imposter syndrome, dealing with lack of confidence, and dealing with fear of interviews. So how many of you love an interview? Yes or no? You know, when you're invited for an interview and you're so scared and you're panicking and you're so worried and you're just like, oh my goodness, what do I do? And I mean, I'm not being funny. They're just human beings like me or you, but I get the drill. And like someone said, I hate interviews. So therefore, we would allocate a mentor. They would go through the case study of what that interview is about and prepare you for that interview. Now, we also give you a voluntary reference as well, considering the fact that what you're doing is real work experience. Okay, let's have a look at the next slide. We'll be wrapping up shortly, I think, yeah. Now, this is something that we've just introduced, and it's something that I'm very, very happy about. So in TriTech, we always like to get feedback from our candidates. And one thing that was mentioned was the fact that for those of them that haven't gotten their success story, after 9 months, they felt like they were left alone because remember, it's a 9-month program. And if you don't get your success story in 9 months, that is the end of the program. So we just introduced this recently, and I think this is fantastic. Accountability coaching and support. So what that means is if you do not get your success story after you've completed the program, we would continue to mentor you until you get your success story. Isn't that fantastic, guys? So even after the 9 months, we're not kicking you off the platform. We're not saying goodbye, good riddance. You didn't get your success story, and therefore we cannot help you. We are giving you this ongoing support free of charge. And this is something that we just introduced, I think in February. So you're added to another group, and we have an accountability coach that mentors and supports you until hopefully you get your success story. So I'm very, very happy about this initiative. Next slide. I think we're getting to the end. So remember I talked about the immigration advisor. So this is our immigration advisor in TriTech, Sir Daberichi Iwaha. Okay, I think I tried there. But yes, he joins us every month. And it's an opportunity for those of you talking about COS and switching, things that perhaps we're not so confident in. His job is to guide you accordingly. So this is very, very good for those of you in that situation. I tried. Thank you. Thank you. Next slide. Okay, so what will you get? And whilst I'm going through this, Mohammed, you can log into TDL. So just to summarize, you get your free training in project management. You get your free training in business, not free. I beg your pardon. Like I said, it's been a long day. You get your training in project management. You get your training in business analysis. You get your practical work experience. We also train you on how to use all of the tools. So there's a lot of tools that you would need to learn how to use, and you will get them. Temi, it was a slip of tongue, okay? You get your AI training as well. The practical element, which is very important, mentorship when you have interviews, real work experience, LinkedIn optimization, again, included in your package. And you also get a free course when you sign up today. But let's have a look at the next slide. So the tools are MS Project, Visio, Jira, and Confluence, okay? Now, I ignored a lot of questions in the chat because I knew that this slide was here. So remember that when you have the training, you have the option of weekend training or weekday training. So your weekend training would be every Saturday for 7 Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. And for those of you not available on Saturdays, you have the option of the weekday option. The weekday option is every Tuesday and Thursday. Please correct me if I'm wrong, admin, from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. So you have the option of choosing either or. Now, again, you might decide to switch or swap. But for every live session that is being taught, it's recorded and uploaded on our portal. So let's say you're meant to join a class and you're busy, you've got a shift pattern to do, and you're not able to do it. The sessions are recorded and uploaded on the portal. Is everybody clear on that, please? Is everyone clear on that? Any questions about the training? Now, for some of you, you might think, well, this is very short notice, because as you can see, we've got dates for the 5th of April for the weekend classes and the 18th of April for weekday. You can defer your training. So if you're thinking perhaps I'm not ready in April, you could move it to May. I'm too quick. I'm so sorry. I'm trying to hurry up and finish on time. So you can move the training to May, or you can move the training to June or July. So whatever works for you. But for those of you adamant that you're ready now, these would be the training dates. Now, before we go to the price, which is the last section, I believe, I'm going to show you something else that you get included in your package, known as TDL. TDL stands for a TriTech Digital Library. And a lot of the success stories that we get are actually attributed to TDL. Now, remember I said that when you join TriTech, you would have to do your personality test and your skills matrix test. Who can remember what phase that was? Let me see if you were paying attention. What phase was that, guys? Phase 1, fantastic. So this is it in TDL. So when you register, you will get your login details to TDL. And this is your portal. So think of it as your own self-learning portal. On here, you've got Try AI. On here, you've also got Ask AI. So we've actually got our own internal ChatGPT function, but exclusive to TriTech. So you can ask it anything about tech. On here, you've got your training materials. On here, you've got your timetable as well. Everything that you need to start your journey is on TDL. Your training materials, your timetable, your LinkedIn optimization. When you need a mentor, you'll put in a request, Try AI, and so on and so forth. But what I really want to focus on is the videos. And we're going to go through them. For the person asking about data, today is all about project management and business analysis. But you can put your number in the chat and someone can give you a call. Thank you. Okay, so when you log in, you've got your project management videos and your business analyst videos. Very quickly, Mohammed, because of time. Thank you. So this is not, how do I put this? Remember, you're going to have your live training. Okay, so we're not going to tell you to go and watch videos. It's a library. So, you know, when you go to a library and you select any book of your choice, this is your digital library. And the reason why I say this is, oh, somebody that knows someone interesting in the chat. So the reason why I say this is you have a lot of topics on here that are not included in your training. So for example, in TDL, you've got videos on AI. You've got videos on ChatGPT. You've got videos on how to use MS Project. There's a lot of videos on stakeholder management. We've even got videos on change management. So TDL is like your dictionary or your encyclopedia, where there's a wealth of information to support you on this journey. So is everybody clear that TDL is not your training? Can everyone just confirm that they understand that this is not your training? This is your library, this is your encyclopedia, and this is your dictionary, where there's a lot of juicy topics. So for example, a day in the life of a project manager. First day on the job, what do you need to do? How to create a winning CV, interview questions and answers, leading a successful PMO, and so on and so forth. And all you do is browse through the topics. We've even got topics on effective communication skills, how to use PowerPoint, resource management, what's the difference between contracting and remote work, how to use ChatGPT. So you select any topic of your choice, like so. and you press play, and you've got the mentor in the background and the audio as well. The good thing about TDL is that you can actually play it on your mobile phone. It's mobile friendly. So you download the app and then you've got it as an app as well. So this is our own personal YouTube, okay? There's a wealth of information on here. You've got videos on how to land a tech job in 2024, how to navigate the Tech Nation visa routes. So a wealth of information to help you along the way. These are just your project management videos. Let's have a look at the BA videos. So again, you've got a wealth of information on here. You've got videos on requirement gathering, requirement elicitation. We've even got videos on software testing. Cybersecurity is also on here. So imagine you're paying for project management and business analysis, but you've also got videos on Agile. You've got videos on Scrum Master Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. Can we see cybersecurity included in TDL? Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, Part 4. So like I said, no, TDL is included in your package. So you do not pay for TDL. It's part of your package for 9 months, okay? You've got videos on process automation, big data, AI, business intelligence. So if you were to describe TDL in one word, what would it be? In just one word, how would you describe it? We've got videos on, keep going because of time, interview case studies, requirement analysis. There's a lot of information. And like I said, it is your library. So for those of you that sign up or register today, you will get access to this today. And you can start to prepare yourself for when you have your live training. Okay, so let's get to the final parts of this session. Okay, next slide, thank you. So your certificate of completion looks like this. So when you've completed the program, you get a beautiful certificate with your name on it and also the type of project that you have worked on. Next slide. So we're getting to, I think we've got one success story. So these are all of the success stories from last year. All of our candidates, well, some of our candidates that secured their success story last year. So you can see their name and their pictures. So the wall of achievers, as we like to call it. Next slide. Is Oluwaseyi available? Okay, so just for 2 minutes so we can end the session. So we're wrapping up very, very soon. Oluwaseyi, thank you so much for your patience. Ready when you are.
Yeah, that's fine. Hi, everyone. I hope
Hi.
you all can hear me.
Yes, we
Okay,
can.
so my name is Shay, and I will be briefly sharing my success story. So I enrolled in TriTech, and I was on the formidable group, and I also came in with the intention to just do project management, and yeah, and that's what I applied for initially. Dr. Cole was just talking about, additional I was talking about, and on at the start, you have the opportunity to like do the test to figure out what roles will be more suitable for you based on your personality. So I did that, and I assumed I was going to get project management, but then when the placement happened, I got hybrid, and I was a little bit sad. I remember because I really wanted to do PM. And when we started the process, I got involved. As she said, it's a 9 month process. So you do the classes and then you begin the training. And luckily for me, luckily in retrospect now, I attended all the sessions and it could be a bit challenging because like as most people have said, you have like 9 to 5 jobs or other jobs that you're doing and also personal commitments that you had prior to this. And so we went through that, went through all the process, the meetings, running into like late night. And when we were done, I began looking for jobs. And ideally, I was looking for project management jobs alone. And that wasn't forthcoming. And then I just said to myself, but I mean, I did hybrid. So I also have business analysis skills. Why not explore that? And then I applied for a business analyst role. And that was the first application I did for business analysis. And I got invited for an interview. Again, that was my first BA interview. as Dr. Additional already said, so I also spoke with like the mentors that we had, did some prep for the interviews, and then I got my first tech role, which was a senior business analyst role.
Oh,
And that
wow.
was in the
Senior.
yeah, that was in the UK. So I did that and then I got married and I had to move to Canada. So which meant that I had to begin like the whole job process again. And so yeah, we moved to Canada. I started my job hunting again. And so this time around, I applied to both PM and business analyst roles. And then I landed my first BA role in Canada here.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so the project I was to work on, we had another organization who was to be like the contracting party for us. And so based on that, I ended up being a project manager on that project. Remember, I was hired as a business analyst for my organization, but for that specific project where we had outsourced some of it to a third-party organization, I had to serve as a project manager on that project. And so I worked on that, and then, but because, like I said earlier, I was applying for both PM and BA roles, I got the interview for like a senior IT role for a company I'd previously applied to. So I also took that interview and then I secured a senior IT project manager role. And I think one thing that it's very important for me to stress is that my background is definitely, it has nothing to do with tech. So my undergrad was in international law and diplomacy. My master's in the UK was also in international development. So I'm very far from tech. And so that's one thing I think everybody should like pay attention to. Like it's something that's definitely doable. It just requires some sort of like sacrifice and lots of hard work on your part. And second thing is that you should definitely cash in on the opportunity to have both like BA and PM experience. Because in my experience, as I've explained, it has been beneficial to me. One, giving me the opportunity to be able to apply for multiple roles, and two, giving me the opportunity to have that added advantage even within my organization, doubling as both a PM and a business analyst on various projects. And so that's all for me.
Congratulations. So,
Thank you.
getting your success story here and then getting it in Canada, which is amazing. And I love the fact that, like I said, we train you in both project management and business analysis, and that has obviously helped you where you are right
Yeah.
now. Michael said, "How is work like?" I
Well, I
mean,
mean,
just
I like to say
summarize
work.
very quickly. Is it
I
challenging?
like, I like to say work is work. Every work is challenging, especially when you join. But at the same time, it's also good to be aware of the fact that there's always the onboarding process, one, and two, you're hardly ever left alone. Three, the lessons you and experience you gain from Tritech is much more valuable than you can imagine. For example, you have those templates that you have the opportunity to leverage on during your work experience. You also have the fact that you've also gone through like requirement solicitation, you've gone through writing like a BRD during your experience in Tritech. So that plays a huge role. So you're not just coming as someone, excuse me, who doesn't have any form of like knowledge.
Amazing, amazing. Thank you so much for your time and congratulations. What time is it in Canada at the moment?
Yeah. So it is 3:18. So I'm in London, Ontario, Canada.
Oh,
It's
okay,
3:18.
great,
Yeah.
great. Congratulations, say Shay. Well done and all the best. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye. Okay, so that is Oluwaseyi from many success stories. If you go onto our page at TriTech Academy on Instagram, you'll see a lot of success stories, a lot of videos where candidates, share their experience. Okay, so we're getting to the final part. Are we all ready? Give me a yes, no. I've talked about, the different roles you can go for, the benefit of this program. I've talked about my journey, and now we're going to end it on a high. Hopefully on a high, because I'm going to announce the discount. So every month we do different discounts. Okay, so it varies every month. So let's have a look. Mohammed, when you're ready, the next slide. Thank you. All right. So a few things that I'm going to mention. Oh, it's on here already. So when you sign up, it's discounted from £1,400 to a limited time offer of £459. Guys, is that not a wow? Okay, I was seeing a lot of the comments. Some people were saying 750, 800. Some people say, oh, she has to convince us. I don't think there's much to convince if you are getting this package for £459, less than £500. Okay. And another thing that we're going to do as well, let's have a look at the next slide. Hopefully it's on there. When you sign up today, you get one of these for free. So let's have a look what you have. So you get to select any of these free courses when you sign up today only. You can get a free course in UI UX design. So how many of you would be interested in this free course? If you're someone that is very creative, you want to know how to design a website or an app, you're someone that wants to understand how things are created and designed, you get this course for free. Or you have a free course in Canva. So Canva is something that is good in terms of creating slides and PowerPoints and presentations, or you get a free course in Microsoft Office Mastery. And that is where we will train you on how to use Word, Excel, and PowerPoint. So for those of you that perhaps you don't know how to create slides, you don't know how to use a computer, you don't know how to, which is understandable for many, many of you, you also get this for free. So just out of interest, what free course would you be selecting? Would it be UI, UX, Canva, or Microsoft? So discounted from £1,400 to £459 only. I think it's, an amazing opportunity. Think about your night shifts, okay? Think about your work-life balance, and you're able to change this for less than £500. And you also get a free course. So this is also a bonus for those of you that are looking to sign up today. So how do you grab this offer? Now, we've only got 50 seats available for this offer, okay? So it's fastest fingers first, and I'm going to talk you through the process. So let me see what someone said here. I'm already an expert in the use of Canva and Microsoft. So Julia, I guess you would go for UI UX. Next slide, please, Mohammed. Thank you. Okay, fantastic. So all you would need to do is when you speak to a member of the team, then you would let them know your free course. Okay, so you have two options to grab this offer. £459 if you're paying in full. So full payment, 459. If you're paying in installments, so you want to do 3 installments using Klarna or ClearPay, or you want to do 2 installments, it's 549. So 459 is full payment, 549 is installment. And all you need to do is you have 2 options. There are different numbers on the screen. And for some of you, perhaps you've already spoken to some of these representatives. So for example, you've got Adijoke. So if you've already spoken to Adijoke, you will text her. Her number is on the screen. Valerie is on here. Shagun, Rookie, Esther, and Jessica. So you text them either the word payment or installment, and then you would be sent a payment link. So if you've spoken to Esther already, Blessing, then just go straight to Esther. You can use a credit card, debit card, your Amex, Klarna, ClearPay, etc. Michael said, it's always been my desire to be a, okay. All right, so this is the option for full payment or installment. Now, so Ife, you can go straight to Rookie, that's fine. No, we don't allow 4 installments. So Klarna and ClearPay, I think the most that they do, is it 3? Oh, 4. I beg your pardon. So if you want to do 4 installments, then you can try Klarna, can't speak, Klarna or ClearPay. But if you do 2 installments, then it will just be via Tritech, and then you will sign a direct debit mandate. But do bear in mind, full payment, you just want to get it out of the way, £459, and then installment 549. Alternatively, you can put your number in the chat. So if you would rather a member of the team reach out to you now to ensure that you're part of the first 50, then you can put your number in the chat and a member of the team will reach out to you immediately and ensure that that slot is available for you. Yes, you can. So you can secure this offer and then resume at a later date. So that's absolutely possible. Okay. So remember what is included in your package: your training, your work experience, your mentorship, your career coaching, your LinkedIn optimization, TDL that I just showed you, mentorship where you have an interview. Yes, you can just put your number in the chat. That's fine. You also have your immigration sessions for those of you that need it. Think about TDL, the wealth of information that you have on there. AI, we also give you AI training. All of this is included in your package. So what we're not going to do is, after you've completed something, say bring money for this or bring money for that. No, we are great news actually. So we're CPD certified and we are in the process of being Prince 2 accredited. We're in the process. We're 90, I would say 80 to 90% close to being a Prince 2 accredited company. Okay, now, so Michael, that's fine. So just either put your number in the chat, a member of the team will call you, or text the numbers on the screen. If you've already spoken to a representative and you'd rather reach out to them as well, you can. Michael, we are CPD certified, okay? And whether we're accredited or not, we're still getting a lot of success stories, but we're trying to work on the Prince 2 accreditation, and that is almost done. Fingers crossed. Okay. Yes, it is. Of course, the certificate is valid. Okay. So do remember that you also get your free course in either Canva, UI UX, or Microsoft Office Mastery. And think about this. You have an option. Remember when I shared my story? So you get your certificate after you've completed the program, okay? Now, remember when I shared my story from working as a cleaner, then selling cakes and donuts, and then working in the bank? What did I do? I made a decision, I made a sacrifice, and here I am today. Now, when I was working as a cleaner and doing everything else, I'm sure I never ever thought that I would be able to transition into tech. I had no experience, I had no knowledge, but I knew that I deserved better and I wanted better. The certificate does not expire. So it's an opportunity for many of you. Imagine you investing in something for less than £500. When you go to university, how much do you spend? Thousands of pounds, okay? And even at that, it doesn't guarantee you a job. But in TriTech, of course, Dipesh, absolutely. We're very inclusive. But in TriTech, knowing that even though we're not guaranteeing, we're not saying join us and you're going to get a job just like that. No, it's going to take a lot of sacrifice, willpower, and determination. But knowing that, you know what, it could potentially take you out of doing that shift work that you're doing, take you out of, insufficient money, take you out of working around the clock, not being able to go on holiday. I think for me, it's an investment. Data and so for those of you interested in other courses, you can just put your number in the chat. Our Instagram handle is TriTech Academy, at TriTech Academy on Instagram, and you'll see all our testimonials on there. Okay, guys. So if you are in Nigeria, you can also contact the team as well and just let them know that you're based in Nigeria. Okay, but I really want you, for those of you that perhaps you go to different sessions. Mohammed, what's going on? Thank you. Yes, Elizabeth. So think about, is it Oluwaseyi that shared her success story in Canada? So we do have a number of success stories from Canada and America. Can we leave the slide as it is? Thank you. Canada, America, and other parts of the world. Okay. So as someone said, student loans and all that other stuff. And we're asking, invest in yourself. A package is discounted from £1,400 to £500 £459 full payment or 549 installments. And think about what you're getting. Think about the value, and hopefully, you will get your success story as well, because that is the end goal. Okay, guys, so how have you found today's program? Let me know in the chat how you have found today's session. Yes, it doesn't matter if you're in South Africa. The good news is we actually had two brothers from Zimbabwe actually get their success story a couple of weeks ago. So anywhere, it's not limited, it's not restrictive. Ruby, yes, we cover the PMO training as well. So that is also included. Thank you so much. I hope you've all enjoyed today's session. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Do follow us on Instagram if you're yet to. Joy, I've spoken to Shogun. Shogun, there's a message for you in the chat for Joy. So if you've already spoken to a representative, thank you so much, Clara. Thank you. So if you've already spoken to a representative, you can reach out to them directly. And even if you do not join today for whatever reason, I hope you take away something valuable, whether it's making a change or understanding a little bit more about what a project manager does and what a BA does, and all of the different roles, or just that insight. Okay, I think final advice for me, try and take your last bus stop. Okay, for those of you, information overload, there's so much going on. I think once you understand something, and sometimes it's just nice to make that decision and then not just keep joining one free session to another. So I'm going to stay on for any last minute questions or answers. Blessing, congratulations. So for those of you that make a payment, what happens next? You would automatically get access to your TDL portal. So we have our admin team that have just resumed now, and they will be working till midnight. So they're doing a night shift to make sure that every single one of you gets your login portal. So that's the first thing that will happen. Then you will be added to a WhatsApp group, and then we will do like an induction to introduce you to TriTech Academy. And then from tomorrow, members of the customer service team will call you just to find out how you're getting on and to welcome you to TriTech Academy. So if you missed the call, do feel free to call them back, but it's just a courtesy call to see how you're getting on. I'm going to have a look at some of the questions. Nana, so we don't put the account, so what you can do is put your number in the chat or text the numbers on the screen. We don't put the account details for security reasons, okay? Because some people can be very, very naughty, okay? So put your number in the chat or text anyone whose number is on the screen. Thank you so much, Adefunke. It's today the last date to join. So we do this cohort every month. Is it Tuesday and Thursday, or will we pick one? Okay, so for the training, you have the option of Saturdays, okay? 7 Saturdays from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. That is for those of you that perhaps you're busy in the week and therefore you just want to do Saturdays. If perhaps your Saturdays are busy, then you have the option of weekday, Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 p.m., I believe it is, till 9 p.m. So the weekday training would be in the evenings, okay? But when you get your login details to TDL, you will see two timetables. You will see a weekday timetable and a weekend timetable. So that way you can select which one is right for you. Don't forget that every training session is recorded and uploaded on TDL as well. Okay. Yeah. So for those of you that perhaps you want to take advantage of this discount, you can, and then you can start at a later date. So Elvis, that's fine. Yes, you can, Timmy. Very good question. So let's say you are confused, or perhaps you want to do some weekday training and some weekend training, you can. So all you would need to do is let the team know, the admin team, and then you can alternate your days. Okay. Fidelis, no, it's all not private. So it's a group. For me, that's the best way to learn. collaborating with other people. Because when you're working in the real working environment, you will have to do that. Oluremi, I'm excited to complete this course. Oh, yes, very good question. Okay, so you will get your certificate for project management and business analysis and whatever free course you select. So if you select